Hey guys, welcome to Cult Fiction. Today we are talking about Skeleton Crew, a new show that came out on Disney Plus. Star Wars universe. I would call it a combination of Star Wars, Goonies, and Pirates of the Caribbean. We're also going to be talking about a new trailer that just dropped recently, the Fantastic Four First Steps trailer. So let's get straight into Skeleton Crew. I would like actually to start with Alex. I haven't had a chance to talk with Alex about this show too much. Wanted to get your take on it and whether you liked it or not.
No, I mean, Goonies mixed with Star Wars is really the perfect description of it. And it's like, for me personally, took about one episode to sort of get into the zone of watching it, where I'm like,
Right.
okay, yeah, it's like you just got to channel that 10-year-old self and then be able to look back, oh, okay, yeah, see, if I were 10 years old, this would be my favorite thing in the world, and that's okay. And it's the first thing I've seen from Star Wars in a long time that is just so completely unpretentious and just it's 100%. It's a simple idea executed pretty well, and then it makes no illusions about trying to do anything else. It wants to tell the
Mm,
story, as simply and efficiently as possible, and they do it well, and so it works. And that's all that really matters. It just works. It's not going to be the greatest thing anybody's ever seen, this year on television, but it's enjoyable and didn't shoot for the moon, but it just was like, hey, like you said, let's make Goonies in space and mix it with Star Wars. And that's exactly what they did. And that worked. It worked
yeah.
because they didn't try to do anything else. They didn't try to grandstand and give any political messaging. They didn't try to be more self-important than they were. They were just like, let's make a really cool Star Wars show for 10-year-olds that adults can also enjoy. And that's what they did, and it worked.
Yeah, I think you're right about the first episode there being a kind of world building episode where you have to get introduced
Mhm.
to everything and you kind of you see this place that it's certainly part of the Star Wars universe, but it's not. It's much more suburban than you're used to, anywhere else in that
Mhm.
anywhere else in that universe. Mr. Bueller, we haven't talked too much about it either. What was your take on Skeleton Crew?
Well, I'm easily the least immersed Star Wars fan in this entire podcast, and I think that kind of helps me with this show because I don't have any bias going into it.
Mm,
Um, with the Acolyte or whatever, we were at a poker tournament earlier, and there's a huge Star Wars fan there, and he asked me about the Acolyte, and I was like, "Look, I didn't think the Acolyte was bad. I didn't think it was good. I didn't really enjoy it. Not for all the reasons people online were saying you should hate it. I
right,
just didn't
right.
think it was good TV." And so going into this Skeleton Crew, I didn't know what to expect because I'm not a big Star Wars guy, but I was already kind of biased because somebody said in the chat that you, Jubal, said, it's a kid's show. So I walked into the first episode and I didn't have my kid lenses on.
Mm,
That was on me. And so towards the end of that episode, I had to be like, wait, this is what was said in the chat. This is a kid's show. Put your kid lenses on. And so going into the second episode, it was like it changed everything. It really did. Your mentality affects the way you view things, and I can't attest to that any more than I can from watching this show because
mm.
the second episode, the whole world was open up to me, and I felt so much better watching it. Just being like, you know what? If I was a kid watching this show, this would be my favorite thing in the world. And it was. It was Goonies in space. Everybody's saying that. We're all saying that. Uh, but it really took me back to watching Goonies, and it was so much fun once I had that mentality about it.
Mhm.
And I thoroughly enjoyed it all the way through the last episode. Um, I was a little disappointed with the ending. I'm not going to give away any spoilers until it's time, only because I expected one thing to happen and that didn't happen. Something else did, but that's on me. Aside from that, was great. It was
Right.
just phenomenal.
So we are going to talk about there are going to be some spoilers. So if you haven't seen the show yet, fair warning. We're going to talk about the ending. We're going to talk about some plot developments. But if, I think you're absolutely right in the sense that it certainly was an homage to Goonies, right? In a lot of ways. I mean, the slides at the end, it was very clear that the people who made this movie wanted to create that experience again. And you have to be ready for that. So if you haven't seen the show yet, you have to put yourself into that 12-year-old you mentality and just thoroughly enjoy it. Eric, what's your take on it?
So I thought it was like very Goonies in space. And no, no, it was great. No, I mean, I liked it. I liked it. And yeah, the slides, when they were coming down the slides, I was like, oh, this is very Goonies. And then when they came out different holes too,
Mhm.
I was like, okay, that's like right out of Goonies.
Right,
So
right.
kudos. I enjoyed it. I thought it was, I watched it with my son. I probably could have watched it with my daughter, even though she's not that into Star Wars. I think she might have been into this
Mhm.
because of the Goonies aspect, the kids and everything. Um, I think when we were talking, my only complaint was the boy. I forget his name.
Whim.
Uh, what's that?
Whim.
Whim. That's right. He didn't have any utility. He was just dumb. Like everybody else did something. Obviously, um, Asian Geordie girl Geordie.
AB.
Yeah, she's smart. She can fix things, all that kind of stuff. The other girl was she was brave. She had very, very good leadership qualities. Even the little elephant boy was so nice
Yeah,
that like
he had his
on
compassion.
right, that
Right.
on the
Huh.
planet where like everything was trying to kill them, he could get people to want to defend them and fight for them,
Mhm.
because he was so nice, so compassionate, whatever. They all had utility except for Wim. Wim, and he never got it at the end. At the end, I was like hoping for some moment
Right.
where his stupidity paid off, or he shrugged off the shackles of stupidity and like saved the day or whatever. And it just never really happened. He was just there's just no utility. He was just the guy who messed things up almost every time.
Right.
Yeah, I
Right.
think that they were building towards that moment with Wim, and they
Right.
never got it.
And
It
there was
never
just no
happened.
follow through.
Right.
Right.
Right. Right. It's interesting. I've been thinking about that because we talked about this before, how Win didn't get a win, right?
Yeah.
Um, and it's unfortunate, but I think it's because of the way that they set up the archetypes. If you look at the characters, right, you've got your pilot, you've got your tech, you've got your consular, which is Neil, right, and then you've got your Jedi, which is Wim. He really wants to be a Jedi, right? But he
Mhm.
really can't be a Jedi because he's 12 years old. So like, what does what's he going to do? He's going to show force powers, like he's going to
Yeah.
how do you give him a win, right? And I think what they came up with was he brings his dad in. Like him bringing his dad in was the win because his dad was integral, obviously, in the resolution of the show. Um, but I do think you're right. I think it was kind of disappointing that he didn't get to have a triumph. Like he's the one who kind of got them into all the trouble, and he
Mhm.
didn't redeem himself. And I feel like that was a shame that he didn't get a chance to do that.
It
He's
was
like the
almost
only real
like,
miss for me.
Yeah.
mhm.
Like that was like everything else can be explained away. Like Bueller says, you could wanted a slightly different ending, all that kind of stuff. Fair. But that was the only one where I'm like, man, you guys kind of did whiff on that, you know.
Mhm.
Right.
But
Right.
It almost feels
So
like Finn in the later sequels. Like he was supposed to be something, but Finn
But
never
just
turned into
didn't.
anything.
never
Yeah.
materialized. Yeah.
Yeah.
Never materialized. That's a whole other can of worms. Episode 8 and 9. I don't want to get into that. But I will say that yeah, I pretty much agree with you entirely. Thoroughly enjoyed the show. Thought it was a lot of fun, but Wim really needed to have a win. So let's do this. Let's do best worst. Best part of the show, or your best moment in the show, versus the worst part of the show, or the worst moment in the show. I would say, and we're definitely getting into spoilers now. For me, the best part of the show, the moment that I knew it was going to be great, was actually 5 minutes into the first episode when he gets to the bus stop and Neil is there with his back turned
Yeah.
and says, "You should not have come here." Right? And it has this imaginary lightsaber. They're both like that. I'm like, this is going to be a great show. I just knew it from that one scene right there. I was amazed at how expressive Neil was. Right? His elephant face, obviously, but his eyes were so expressive. For me, the worst part of the show, setting aside the whim debacle, right, where he didn't really get a win. He kind of, I guess you could say he kind of did with KB, like he saved her, right? That was pretty cool. Right? And his whole thing was he wants to save people. So when he made her like her new battery, right?
Yeah, yeah.
That was a
And we talked
cool.
about that. I said that was the first time I saw him show like at least like some hustle.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
I was like, okay, do it quicker. And he was trying to, and I was like, okay,
Right. So
that's
you could say that that was his win, but it was they didn't really, there wasn't the musical flourish that you would expect from something like that. But anyway, for me, the really the most disappointing part was finding out that the supervisor was a droid,
Mm.
because that was a great opportunity to put somebody in there that you would recognize, put like a John Malkovich in there. You know what I mean? Like somebody with just a little cameo, just a little bit part. You could have done it, but they made it like a big droid, and it's like I get it. I get what they were going for, right? But I just feel like it was a wasted opportunity. What were you going to say, Joe?
No, that was it for me. Like there were so many predictable moments in this, and I excused them all because it's obviously made for kids.
Sure,
So
sure.
if
right.
you're gonna watch it, you're gonna
You're
see
gonna
things
have
that are
some
gonna happen.
tropes. You're gonna have some
You're gonna
tropes.
have a ton of tropes, especially as an adult watching a kid's show. Like, okay, this has been done a million times before. How, and I'm gonna say this out loud now, and you guys are gonna be like, well, duh, here's the reason. But I'm gonna say this out loud, but how the fuck was the supervisor not the goddamn pirate who crashed the fucking ship on the planet to begin with?
That's what I was telling. That's what I was telling you.
Like everything else came to fruition.
Right.
Everything that
We
you
never
thought
found
was
his
gonna happen
body.
fucking happened.
Where's his body, right? Was it the
Dude,
guy who was stabbed in the ship? I don't think it was.
No, I
and
don't think it was either.
the ship was on the fucking planet, so he made it to the planet. So where the fuck is he, dude?
Right.
Where is he?
Right.
Whatever.
Season 2, right? Season 2. So I think that's what's going on in season 2.
I
I
guess.
will say this real quick. I'll talk out of order. There was another part where I was like, I knew that this show was going to be great. It was when they were escaping from the prison, and Jude Law was convincing him that he was a Jedi and all this stuff. And he's like, "Oh, there's people coming." It's like he could sense them through the Force. And then KB is like, "Oh, there's people coming. Oh, is she a Jedi now? Because she knew there was somebody coming." And he kind of turns around and looks at him and he goes, "The Force flows through us all." That was classic Jude Law. Anyway, Eric, what was your best and worst? You're setting aside whim and the fact that you didn't really get a moment. What would you say were your favorite and
What
least
was my
favorite parts?
favorite? Ooh, my. You know what? I gotta say, one of the things I thought was really interesting was kind of seeing that suburban life
Yeah.
in Star Wars. I hadn't seen that before.
Right.
It seems like everybody in Star Wars in prior iterations lives in apartments and sky condos. You
Right.
know, like everybody lives in a high rise apartment or condo, and to see neighborhoods like actual neighborhoods
Mhm.
and schools and stuff, I thought was very interesting, very brought it to street level. It's like you talk
Grounding.
about in Marvel, like the Daredevil, Luke Cage, level, and then there's the Avengers, and then there's the Cosmic, right? So this was very street level, and I had seen that really in Star Wars, so I thought that was particularly interesting. I'd have to reiterate my least favorite was the supervisor. I too, at some point, I think around episode 6, thought that the supervisor was going to be the pirate that
Right.
landed, you
Right.
know, and and so when it was just a robot, I was like, gave me very like Kevin feels from She-Hulk. I
Right.
was like, but what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Well, I
Yeah.
mean,
He
maybe
was.
we'll find out like it's gonna be like a Wizard of Oz thing, and there's gonna be a man behind
behind the droid.
Yeah,
You
maybe.
know?
Yeah, maybe because because that could make sense in the sense that who would follow these people who are tech savvy and they're analysts and administrators, they're going to follow a pirate? Probably not. But if the pirate can, you know, use a facade
Yeah.
that,
So the droid was Oz in a sense,
Yeah.
like
right.
the
Yeah.
droid
The
would have
droid
been
was
Oz.
awesome. But,
That would
who
be an
knows?
interesting. That'd be an interesting take. Alex, your favorite, least favorite parts,
Yeah,
portions. What do
I
you
don't know
think?
what specifically my favorite part was. I know the part that I think I had the biggest laugh was when they were going through the trials, and figuring out the puzzles, very, Indiana Jones like,
Sure, sure.
And
Right.
then Jude Law is down there talking. He's like, "Oh, so can you turn the tracks back on?" He's like, "Oh, well, flood everything with acid." You just hear this scream. He just like, his look on his
Hear
face, he
that
looks
yelling?
fine, and he's like,
Ah!
like music to his ears.
You can
He's
hear
like,
from the outside.
That
They're
was
like,
awesome.
And Urkel. Nobody said Urkel.
oh yeah, Urkel. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
That was funny.
yeah, it would be interesting to hear. But like my worst, I'll tell you what I was kind of disappointed with was I really liked it when Juba was talking about how it seems like he's calming them about being a Jedi. He's like, "Oh, the
Right.
Force was the Force was all." It was very funny. It was like I was like, "Ah, see, I'm onto your game, sir." But then it turns out he really is a Jedi or something. Or he had Force training. I'm kind of like, then it kind of
Yeah.
lost something. Like he's not. Like
Yeah,
he
you
wasn't
expected him to have
conning
like
them.
magnets in his gloves or like,
Right.
some kind of
Something,
technological
yeah.
device that allows him to do these things,
Yeah.
but he really did have force
But by
powers.
it just made him less interesting in a way as a character. Weirdly,
I yeah,
maybe I think you could develop it further in subsequent seasons, like his Jedi background. But as far as that one goes, the whole thing was to me that he's conning everybody and
right.
making it up as he goes along. Everything, even in the opening scene, it just seems like everything is just by the seat of his pants. And he just like try and keep it all together. But then it turned out, oh no, and he's actually a Jedi. I was kind of
Right.
like,
So here's the thing, right? If you go back and you watch it, the scene where he moves, because I watched it again with Olga, right? So the scene where he moves the key off the peg when he's in the jail cell, you see it kind of like dangling a little bit as it moves, like it's on a string, right? And that was what led me to believe like that he's faking it, right? He's faking that he has force powers. It didn't, and maybe it was just a trick of my mind or something. I don't know, but I felt like he was faking it, and I feel like you're right. The character would have been more interesting if he was faking force powers somehow, even if it was just something as stupid as magnets in his gloves. It would have been. I think it would have actually added more credibility to his character, right? I think it would have been interesting. But overall, super enjoyed it. Thought it was a great
Yeah.
show. Giving it a thumbs up.
Yeah, I hope they do a second season. So
doesn't look like it will though. No.
They're not going to do a
My
second.
understanding is it's been like the lowest rated thing that they've done as far as
Really?
Star Wars
Oh
goes.
man,
Yeah.
what a shame. That's a shame.
So let me just say I had a lot of like fun moments and a lot of moments where no, well, not a lot of moments where I was like, man, but there was one moment that made me like groan out loud. And it's because of the predictability of the tropes and things like that. But it's when they went to at Akron, not at Atten,
Right.
but at Akron when they were like they joined opposing armies and stuff. Um, and the daughter of the general was like helping them because she liked Neil. And after everything was said and done and the battle was done or whatever, I'm like, this bitch gonna kiss Neil. because I'm like because of fucking course she is. Because of course she is. Because Neil's this fucking shy goober ass kid who doesn't know how to talk to anybody.
Dude.
And this girl is a badass, general's daughter who kicks everybody.
What's the
Badass-
matter, Joe?
Yeah, badass
Jealous?
chicks.
But she gets a soft spot for the elephant kid. And it's
Dude,
like,
badass
oh,
chicks love nerds, man. That's the way it works.
I was like, come on, dude. Come on.
Jealous
that's
of
not
Elephant
real?
Boy.
Yeah, it sounds like jealousy to me.
I was so jealous of not being able
You're
to
jealous of the elephant man's offspring.
well,
You
It
still,
Riz,
I mean, you
you
still
were-
give it.
John Merrick.
You're still gonna give it a
the
thumbs up though, Joe. Yeah.
the Elephant Boy's
100%.
Riz, you're jealous of it.
I am. I'm super jealous. I wish I had his trunk, but
Oh
Yeah.
man, you guys
no, but
taking it to the weird level.
I'm disappointed to hear that this is not high rated because this is
Yeah.
so much better than the Acolyte was, and I'm not saying that in any other aspect. I'm not a Star Wars fan,
Right.
so it's just a person watching TV,
Mm.
watching for entertainment. I was way more entertained by this show than I was by the Acolyte, so I would like to see this continue.
I agree with that. And also, speaking of Jude Law, who I think did a fantastic job in this show, we're going to be doing a new format next week. We're gonna have a spotlight on Jude Law for our next episode. We're going to talk about that dude and some of the cool stuff that he has done. So make sure you tune in for that. For now, though, we're going to talk about the new Fantastic Four trailer that just dropped. First Steps, which I actually just watched. I hadn't seen it yet. Just watched before we started this episode. So while it's
Let's get
fresh
your
in my
idea
mind,
then. While it's fresh in your mind, let us know what you think.
yeah. So my idea is that I'm interested to understand because in the scope of the Marvel universe, right? Is this taking place in another dimension? Is it taking place in the future? Is it like where is it taking place, right?
My understanding is it's not confirmed, but it's very likely in some sort of
So some
different
sort of multiverse
universe.
because it's very clearly not Earth, right? I mean,
Yeah, and it's like the
It's like retro
1960s.
1960s
yeah,
Fallout mixed
it's like
with
a
the
Fallout.
Fantastic
Yeah, yeah,
Four
yeah.
before the bomb,
There's a whole 50s vibe going on with like the
which is
skyscrapers and
cool.
yeah,
I like
yeah,
that.
yeah. I'll take it. Uh, um, love to see Pedro Pascal, whatever he's doing. I'll watch that dude eat cereal for an hour and a half and be entertained. So I'm very, very glad that he's in it. The girl who's playing Sue Storm, I've seen her in a number of things. Her name escapes me at the moment.
Vanessa Kirby.
Yeah. So she's done really good work. I think she has a really interesting presence. So I'll be glad to see what she has to do. Um, Overall, it looks interesting. It looks like it could be good. There was a flash, just a quick flash of John Malkovich with
No.
like long hair and some kind of Jedi robe or something. So I'm excited to see whatever the hell he's doing in the movie, because I like that dude. He always adds class and weirdness. So overall, I would say I am like B level excited kind of to
Sure.
watch this. I'm not real big on the last iterations of Fantastic Four. I feel like they've kind of dropped the ball with this show so far with the Fantastic Four universe, but this looks interesting. So, Eric, what is your take on the Fantastic Four trailer?
Um, Thought the hero of the trailer was how good Thing looked. I thought he looked very comic accurate. Um, so that was good. Um, I had my buddy who works with Disney message me the other day and asked me about the trailer, and I said, um, yeah, Thing looked cool, but ultimately I don't give a shit because you're making the Silver Surfer a girl. And so
Is
get
that
fucked.
confirmed? You sure?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
it's the girl
so
from
get fucked.
that
I don't care.
show with
I
Jason
just don't care.
Bateman. What is
Because
it?
you guys know me, Silver Surfer is my favorite character.
Right.
Like I have
Oh.
Silver Surfer statues, Silver Surfer first appearances, Silver Surfer shit all over. And you're making, you know, you're using an iteration of Silver Surfer that's been in like 3 issues of a comic, 6 issues ever. And then I don't care. I just don't
Mm.
care. I don't know. There are people that are saying, "Oh, well, they'll end up in our universe eventually," and Norn Rad will be okay. Cool. Well, congratulations on losing $200 million because people aren't going to watch it
Mm.
because you did that. You could have had Norn Rad Silver Surfer. You could have shown him in the trailer. Would have been a big deal. Now
Yeah,
you're
they
going to
didn't
lose money.
show they didn't show either any Silver Surfer.
No, they didn't. They didn't because they and that was the thing is people were like, oh, it got so many views. It didn't do as many views as Superman, but it did a lot of views, and I was like, yeah. And until they bust out the trailer where they remind everybody that they gender swapped Silver Surfer, and then people are going to be pissed again, you know. So
Yeah, I hear you. Alex, what was your take on the trailer?
Yeah, I mean, I understand every one of their criticisms, honestly. I'm not, a big Silver Surfer guy. I can say I'm cautiously optimistic in a way because, um, the rumors and whatnot are that Marvel are trying to right the ship and trying to, make up for their past
yeah,
mistakes over the
and then
last
they
few
do
years.
that,
But then they
right?
do that. So, I mean, my a bigger concern I have is that, I like all the actors in the
Right.
show, in the movie. But it's like they're all, except for Charlie Storm, like 50 years old, Like Pedro Pascal pushing 50, even the woman who's playing Sue Storm is like 40, you know?
She's
And then
36,
or
if I'm
36.
not mistaken. She's 36.
Okay.
Well, she looks
So it's
old.
just like it's just kind of odd to me that they're making, but they're all pros, so I'm sure they're gonna pull it off. I really like they nailed the look of the thing, the guy's
Yeah,
voice is a little odd to hear coming out of like the thing body, but I'll give it a shot. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they handle Galactus and everything. So everything is sort of I like the vibe that, retro
Right.
60s futuristic vibe, it's all
Right.
cool.
The
So there's
setting, the
all sorts of
atmosphere was good.
potential here.
Right.
it's also, yeah,
But
that's the thing, is it's got so much more potential than the first two, and then they decided to take a shit on it.
Mm.
And it's like, I just don't understand what they're doing over there.
What do you think, Bueller? You agree with Eric?
So, okay, here's my take on it. Going back to the Silver Surfer thing, I feel like it was a timing of the trailer, and we don't get political on this podcast, which is totally fine with me. I'm not a political guy. That being said, I've heard some rumblings that Silver Surfer was cut from the trailer because of recent political
Mm.
situations with DEI and stuff like that. So they didn't want to show the gender swap Silver Surfer in the trailer because of everything that was happening. I don't know if that's true. I don't care. Silver Surfer wasn't in it. I didn't even think about it. All I thought about while I was watching the entire trailer for this new Fantastic Four was fucking boring. This is one of the most boring fucking trailers I've ever seen in my fucking life, dude. It's a Marvel trailer. It's the Fantastic Four, and you gave me nothing. You
Mm.
gave me nothing. This was a fucking garbage ass trailer. You want me to go and get in line to watch this in the theaters? Why? You
Mm.
gave me fucking nothing, dude.
It was really more like a teaser.
It was a
Yeah.
2-minute
Well,
teaser, though.
it was a teaser. I mean, it was a
Yeah.
teaser trailer, right?
But
So
but
like
what were trailers when we were kids? Trailers were 2 minutes when we were kids, and they were a full fucking trailer. A 2-minute teaser of bullshit is bullshit. That's 2 minutes of trash from your fucking movie. If that's what you have to show me, your movie sucks fucking balls, dude.
Yeah, they didn't show like even a semblance of an action sequence. Like the biggest action
Nothing.
sequence was the shuttle taking off.
Fuck, it was such garbage. And you give us a little glimpse of Galactus. That's cool. You got the guy who plays the thing. Nothing against him. I like him in the bear. But the whole sequence of him talking to the robot about the cooking and stuff like that sounded just like uh uh the Hulk when he's in the diner and they're talking to the kids. It sounds like he's basing his iteration of the thing off our most recent iteration of the Hulk, which, dude, draw your own originality for it. You don't have to fucking do it. Dab, exactly. Exactly. And then Sue Storm is talking to Reed Richards about like, oh, we're all so different now. And like, oh no, uh, he's always been our rock. Ben's always been our rock, and now he is a rock. And Johnny's always been a fucking hothead. Say a hothead. You don't have to say Johnny's always been Johnny. If you're trying to compare Ben to a rock, which he is now, then say Johnny is a fucking hothead. That's why he is hot. Like, why are you dropping the ball every fucking chance you get? Every step you take, you're dropping the ball in this trailer. You gave me nothing to be exciting about at all.
Mm.
Nothing. It's shit.
All right. Well, Joe is not looking forward to
I
Fantastic Four.
disagree.
For me, it was the aesthetic. I thought the aesthetic was fascinating. I'm
The
interested.
cars were cool.
Is interesting,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
they're not delivering on anything yet.
So
So-
okay, tell me this. I'll pull it back in. Tell me this: the tower that they flash on in the beginning, that's the Fantastic Four tower. Is that supposed to be like a different Earth version of the Avengers Tower? Because that's kind of what I got.
It's the Baxter Building. That's kind of like their,
That's the
Right.
Baxter Building.
yeah,
But the
their
way it
thing
was
is the Baxter
designed kind of
Building.
gave off Avenger feels.
Yeah, yeah, well, yeah, in the way that, a skyscraper is like a skyscraper. But,
A
I
shit
guess.
skyscraper from a
Dude,
shit movie.
if you ever go to New York and you walk around New York, you will be able to pinpoint exactly which one was the Avengers Tower
Hmm.
without question.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, there's a name for that building. I know the one you're talking about.
Yeah.
But there's some similarity there. I don't know if the Baxter Building is like fashioned after a noteworthy building in New York, but whatever. I was interested in the aesthetic. I get it. Your concerns are valid, right? But I'm going to go ahead and continue to be at least B minus level enthused about it. I'm hoping they pull something off. And obviously, the whole thing with the thing there at the beginning where they're talking about the cooking and everything was a play off of the bear, right? And it's like,
It was a play
That's
off
what I
the
was kind
bear,
of thinking
but
too. I
again,
haven't watched the show, but I was thinking that's what it was.
right,
yeah, it was a
right.
play off the bear, but it was definitely it was just like Bruce Banner, Gray Hulk, Smart Hulk, whatever in the diner with the kids. It felt very much like that. And again, this is why they didn't do it for Super Bowl, because you wouldn't want to spend fucking $40 million to air this piece of shit during one of the biggest fucking TV shows
All
in
right.
the
Well,
world.
now that I've had a minute to reflect, maybe it wasn't the greatest trailer in the world. You're right. There wasn't enough action in it. They did need to show, here's some reasons why you want to see this in the theater, and I feel like they really didn't do that.
They didn't make
I
you
was
want to go.
thinking, yeah, I'm looking right now. I think
Fair
it's going to
enough.
premiere.
Fair enough.
It's going to premiere while we're at San Diego Comic-Con again, like Deadpool and Wolverine did.
Oh, really?
It's going to
Oh, okay.
it premieres July 25th. So
Well, maybe we'll go see it down in San Diego then. Okay, well, that's it for this week on Cult Fiction. Remember, next week we're going to do our first spotlight. It's going to be on Jude Law. So tune in for that, and we'll catch you on the flip side.